So what's the number one thing that tech reviewers and individuals always talk about when new devices come out or smartphones come out? It's always the cameras, right? Like that's the number one thing that everybody always wants to emphasize on, they want to focus their attention on is the cameras. Oh, they have these new sensors that's in there. They can pick up this much light. They can zoom into this. They have 5 times zoom. They have 10 times zoom. They have 100 times zoom. They have like Flossie Carter's scumbag zoom. But the question is, how does it work for everyday users like you all? I mean, we talk about the new chips that's inside of them. We always talk about the new software they may include and integrated into the devices themselves, what new tricks they have coming out that will kind of bring people back into them, like little gimmicky stuff. But at the end of the day, it really boils down to what you're using your device for. Number one thing I always talk about, especially with individuals, when I talk about the Apple versus Android thing, is, okay, well, Android can do this versus what Apple can do. Apple has you locked down, Android has you open, which is not necessarily true because Google does have their stuff locked down to a degree. But I get it. But the biggest thing that you always hear, and there goes Google talking now, but the biggest thing that you always hear when new smartphones come out is how the cameras are looking and what new gimmicks they have to push out. And the number one thing I want to talk about today is the Pixel 8 Pro. Now, I came back to the Pixel universe. I don't do a lot of tech reviews. I plan on doing a lot more, but I came in from a Pixel 6 Pro and then I went over to the S23 Ultra, the Galaxy S23 Ultra, and I want to come back to Pixel. The reason I switched over for me personally, it was because of the brightness of the phone itself. I found that Samsung devices were way more punchy, they had way more saturation in them, they highlighted the colors. And for somebody like me, that's what I wanted to see when I looked down at my phone itself. I didn't really care about the cameras. I do care about the cameras to a degree, but I necessarily didn't. That wasn't like the highlight for me. I wanted to make sure the phone worked like I wanted it to. It integrated with the things I wanted to use it for, and it was the ease of use, which is why I use an iPhone. So I have an iPhone 14 Pro Max as my daily driver for all of my personal stuff when it comes to friends and family. That's what I go to. That's where I take a lot of my photography stuff with, and that's what I do a lot of my video and stuff with. But my business and everything else I use my Android devices for. So I've always been an Android person. I love the Android operating system. I love stock Android. So it was, for me, I was a OnePlus person before I even switched. Well, actually, I mean, I'm older than that. I mean, I had a Sidekick and then some of the older Nexus devices before I actually came back over to like the Pixel. But I use OnePlus because OnePlus is one of the closest thing that you could get to stock Android until Apple came out with the iPhone. So I came over to the iPhones because of the Apple ecosystem and what it brought to it. So, and I'm a big Apple eco nerd. I'm a fanboy. I really am a fanboy. I have the smart TVs. Well, yeah, I have the Apple TVs. I have laptops I work off of, a tablet, of course the phones, and then I have an Apple Watch. And then all of my family members have the same thing too. So for me, it kind of works that way. But I wanted to come back to the Pixel lineup because Pixel does take really good pictures. I mean, I hate to say that, but it really, I mean, I do hate to say it because it does take really good pictures. So I came back to it for the Pixel 8 Pro primarily is because they fixed thank God they fixed the brightness on the display itself. So now it's coming in at 2400 nits versus the S23 Ultra 1750 nits. And now realistically, nobody's bumping it up that far, but you know, at least it's bright enough for me to look down at it and I can see the wallpapers I put on. The pictures look actually crispy on the display itself. And I mean, Pixel lineup has always worked. I mean, it was always the ease of use case. So for me, when it comes to devices, I always say, you know, go for what you want, go for what you actually that's functional and that works for you. You know, I know there are a lot of tech reviewers and I love a lot of them. I watch them, I love their content, I love what they put out. But at the end of the day, it really boils down to what you like. And I can speak on that because I do work in technology for those that have not listened to my podcast and any of those things, or, you know, you don't know my history. So I've been working in IT for 20 years now. I am a network security engineer by trade, but I work in R&D in a device. I say that to say I work on these devices. So I work on like your Android devices and your smartphones and stuff, and I build out like the networks that actually operate on production-based things. So, and one of the projects I'm working on is something called multi-access edge computing. And for a lot of testing that we use Android devices. So when I look at a device, I actually look at what the device has and how it can work for me, and then also what I use it for in the lab. And so if you want to nerd out with it, what can you really nerd out with? And versus, if you just need it for ease of use, like the iPhone, we use the iPhone for ease of use when we just want to make some test calls or whatever across some things that we built. That's what we use it for. So for me, coming back to the Pixel lineup from the S23 Ultra, is there a huge difference between the S23 versus the Pixel? It's all about what you're looking for. So I'm a big AI person. I've been AI before it became mainstream now. And I know there's like kind of cool thing to say, just like I watched anime before anime became cool, and I was a big nerd behind it. But I like the Samsung has a lot of features. I mean, I can't slack on Samsung. They really do have a lot of features with their devices itself. But when it comes to Pixel, I mean, Google created Android. I mean, come on. So, at the end of the day, if they're gonna do it, let them, hopefully they do it the right way, since they were the ones that came up with it. And I believe with the Pixel lineup, they have those features that I can use, because I didn't use everything on the Samsung line that will work. But now if you ask me to recommend a phone for you today, and you didn't want to pay the new price for the Pixel 8 Pro or Pixel 8, I would recommend the S23 Ultra, because they're about to go on sale, because the S24 is about to come out the first part of the year. So I would say get an S23 Ultra. The phone is beautiful. It has a 6.7-inch display on it. I mean, you get a pencil on it, so if you're a business person, you can sign documents on the go. And I use it for that versus my iPad when I had things I had to sign while I was out doing contract work. So I switched back over to the Pixel because of the AI stuff. I love the call screening. I get a lot of random phone calls, which I'm sure a lot of you all do too, but I get a lot of random phone calls. I get people wanting to set up contracts and stuff. So I love having the assistant on there, to where if I'm working on something and I can't take time to get the call, I can have the call screener actually do it for me. And if it's important, then I can pick it up. Otherwise, I can transcribe it through text. And I love all the other AI features it has built into it now, because for me, I'm looking for that home Jarvis one day. So this is my review of the Pixel 8 Pro. I'm happy to see that Google is actually listening to some of the people. Now, the temperature reader on the back, that's a gimmick. I mean, real talk, I don't know what you would use it for until it becomes FDA approved. It can give you the right temperature from your actual skin itself, but I think it's a long way off from it doing that. And even if they do get it FDA approved, like, come on. Like, how many of you all would actually use that feature on your phone? Same as the Samsung S23, where it can do the ultra zoom into the moon, and come to find out that was capped. It's like, how many people really did a lot of moon shots like that? So everybody has their gimmicks on their phone. I just came back over, for me, because of the peak brightness of it. I'm tired of people comparing like the cameras themselves, because nowadays when you look at the cameras, I mean, they are pretty neck and neck. I think Apple still reigns supreme when it comes to video. A lot of people disagree with me on that, but looking at both phones, I think Apple still reigns supreme. And I think now with the 15 Pro Max that's out now, if you have a 14 Pro Max like I do, there's a reason to upgrade. Just like if you have a 7 Pro, a Pixel 7 Pro, I don't think it's a reason for you to upgrade to the 8 Pro. I mean, yes, it has a new Tensor chip inside of there, but realistically, only thing you're looking at is software. Cameras typically gonna be about the same when it comes to Pixel devices. So these little small iterations, I don't think it's a reason to switch over. Unless you got devices to trade in, then the sky's the limit for you. Trading at your heart's content. But that's my quick review on the Pixel 8 Pro. I think it's a great phone, so I've been using it so far. It actually has lasted me all day, and I mean, I knocked out it pretty early this morning because I have a little bad case of insomnia. So I've been up since like 4 o'clock this morning, and I've been on it looking at YouTube. I've been on Threads, so follow me on Threads, peachd.tv, reading stuff on there, making comments here and there, because I'm talking about what's going over in the Middle East. And it actually lasted me all day. I didn't really have to charge it until about an hour ago when it dropped down to 29%. So it has lasted all day. Now, to me, that's not a real world use case, because I've been in my house all day long. So I plan on making a review for a real world use case because you know, when I go into my lab or I'm doing client work, at least I can see how it will last with me doing videography work, because I do use my cameras on my smartphones to record stuff when I'm out in the field versus my DSLR camera. So, but yeah, that's my quick review. Now, I think for me, it was a good switch over. Now, could I recommend one over the other? No, not really, because to me, it's always about preference. I like Samsung displays, and I think the S23 Ultra display is beautiful. It's a punchy display. I love it. The width of the phone is nice. I don't necessarily like the whole curved screen on there, so I do like how Google has come back to a flat screen. And I promise you, I would not have said that a while ago, because I did like the curved display and how it rolled over, but you do get a lot of like the phantom touches just on there. But you know, I'm happy to be back over on the Pixel lineup. I think it's a beautiful phone, and it's blue. I mean, I like the blue that's on there. It's almost like a pastel blue, and you really can't tell because the light is punching up on here, what is just shining up on the phone itself. But I think it's a great phone. I highly recommend it if you're upgrading from, you know, the older Pixel models, not a 7. I think it's a good phone. Or if you're coming from an old Samsung phone and you want something a little different that has the call screening features on there, I think, you know, give the Pixel a try. Also, one thing too for iPhone people, there is an application that you can use. So if you want to try out, if you want to like dip your toes into the Android world, there is an application that you can use called Beeper. Beeper is an app that allows you to integrate almost all of your messages into one place. And the one thing I signed up for, which I really wanted to sign up for, was it integrated over iCloud messages. I don't know how they do the magic behind the scenes, but you can bring over your iCloud account and actually communicate with people from Beeper on your Android devices and on your desktop computer, and it will actually come through with a blue bubble. So people don't necessarily know that you've left over from the ecosystem, and or like in my case, because I carry 2 phones, if I'm doing some client work and I don't want to have 2 phones in my pocket, I can just carry my Android device with me, and I can respond back to my friends and family from my Android phone through the Beeper app, and they don't know the difference. I mean, so, you know, if you're an iPhone person and you want to try out Android just for a little bit, but you don't want to leave iCloud and iMessage, you can do that with the Beeper app. They haven't sponsored this video. I mean, I would love for them to sponsor some of my stuff, but they didn't sponsor this video. But I do encourage you, it is a wait list. So if you're interested in it and you're thinking about doing it, go ahead and sign up now. It took me 1.5 years to get approved. Yes, a whole 1.5 years. So if you're thinking about doing it, sign up now. But all the Apple people that's out there, I mean, I know you get curious. Come on now. I know everybody gets curious when you see all the new Android devices coming out and you want to try it out just for a little bit, and then, I hate to say it, trade it back in or sell it and, you know, come back to the Apple ecosystem. Beeper is a great place to start. You can get the application, bring your iCloud account over into it, play around with the Android device to see what the nerds over here are talking about, and all the functionality and the customization that you can do on Android that you can't do on Apple. And then, you know, if you don't like it, you know, go back to Apple. You don't have to hurt anything. You don't have to sign out of your iCloud account and then get it restored again. You don't have to do that. And you don't have to sign out of Google's RCS messaging account to get back over into the Apple ecosystem. So that's it for my review. Y'all tune into the next episode of PGD TV. I just posted a video, so go check it out, go listen to it. I had MT Strickland from Metric Mate on for an interview to talk about his new device that he's created to help people out, the gym rats out, so you can keep track of how many reps you're actually doing and if you're actually doing a full rep. So go check out the interview. I mean, I think it was a really good interview. That was on Shark Tank. So go and check it out. Listen to my previous episodes. I talked to PTD TV's politics, technology, and gaming. So for me, you know, I talk to a lot of elected officials. I talk about technology, and I talk about gaming here and there. And then stay tuned for some more gaming content, because I want to get back onto Starfield. I only play like a couple of hours of it because I've been super busy doing some of the stuff with my work and with my client work. So haven't had time to do any gaming because I want to get back into Cyberpunk since 2.0 just came out. So thank y'all for tuning in again. Love you all. Peace out.